everybody. I'm Evie Roberts, and this is my podcast, Talking in the Dark. Welcome. The aim of this podcast is to raise awareness about blindness, visual impairment, and disability in general, in a happy and light-hearted way. For those of you that don't know, I am blind. I was born with a condition called bilateral anophthalmia. Try spelling that one. It basically means that when I was born, my eyes didn't develop properly, so I wear prosthetics instead. The goal of this podcast is to remove some of the stigma and stereotypes around disabilities, whilst also having fun at the same time. Each week, I will be interviewing people from all walks of life, including some with hidden or physical disabilities like mine, and getting to know a little bit more about them and the lives they lead. In this episode, I am very excited to tell you that I will be talking to Claire Bell, Deputy Membership and PR Manager for the Listening Books charity. My name is Evie Roberts, and this is my podcast, Talking in the Dark. Welcome. Hi Claire, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting us on your podcast.
It's so lovely to meet you, and I mean, thank you so much for doing this. I think Listening Books is a very, very brilliant charity, so I'm super, super excited to get to know more about it. But before we hop into all of that fun stuff, how has your day been? What have you been up to recently?
It's been good. It's always super busy when you come back from Christmas break. We tend to have a bit of a break over Christmas. So yeah, it's a lot of catching up and responding to emails and catching up with other staff on meetings and stuff. So yeah, it's been very busy, but it's nice to be back.
Yeah, I bet. I feel like that's the thing, because for kind of audience context, we're recording at the very beginning of January. And I think Christmas is like obviously a lovely time for, taking a bit of a relax, spending time with family and friends. But then you get back to like work or school after Christmas, and it's just as busy as you were before.
Yes. Yeah, it's I think you kind of try and wind things down leading up to when you go away, and then when you come back you'll have so many more emails than when you left.
Yeah, it's like complete and utter whiplash. Like you come back so chilled, and then you're like, actually, never
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah, end of the first day was a bit like, did we have a break? I'm sure we did, but it was a
Yeah.
very long time ago.
It's weird how quickly we like get back into routines though. I think about this a weird amount. Like it's weird how you can come back from a break and have that day and then you're like, oh, like it feels like I wasn't like at home yesterday. Like it's weird how we sync back so quickly.
Yes. Yeah, I think definitely with routines, you do kind of hop back into it really quickly. Um, and especially over Christmas, if you don't get up at the same time, or you might go to bed a bit later, or that kind of thing. You getting back into kind of getting up at a certain time and being in a certain place at a certain time. It's a bit of a culture shock.
Literally. Yeah, I completely agree with you there. Well, anyway, little side tangent over. Obviously, I am super excited to learn all about Listening Books. So, first of all, can you tell me a little bit about the charity and its history?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Listening Books was established in 1959 by a lady called Norma Skemp, who she lost some of her sight due to a car accident, and she was searching around for a service that would be able to support her with reading, and there wasn't really anything that would work for people at the time who did have some vision. So she decided to set up Listening Books to cater for everyone who either couldn't visually see the book, or perhaps they couldn't hold it because they had arthritis in their hands, or kind of lots of different conditions. And then we've just kind of gone from there, really. So we've been running ever since, providing, at first we provided tapes, and then we moved on to CDs. And now we're a fully digital service. So all of our audiobooks are either available online via the website or via the app. And we've kind of added in some different projects as well now. So Yeah, we've when you think back to how long we've been around, it's quite a long time.
It is. It's definitely a long time, and I think the a kind of amount of changes to how you like provide those services from, like you say, tapes to CDs to tech, like that's a testament to that, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, and technology. I think for us, we try and keep as much as we can up, keep up with all those changing technologies because it has changed a great deal. Um, if you've never used a tape before, and tapes were around when I was a child, but if growing up now, you probably may never have seen a tape and an audiobook on tape and listened to it. So it's a very different way of um, listening to books, just with the medium that it comes in. So um, yeah, it's interesting to see what all the new technologies that are coming out will what changes they will have for us. But um, yeah, it can be it's very interesting historically.
It definitely is. So I guess a bit more about you and your role then. Can you tell me a little bit about your role and what it entails?
Yes, so I am the Deputy Membership and PR Manager. So I started with listening books as a membership services assistant. So I used to help members with the service and accessing the books. And my role now is going to transition into more recruitment. So I try and let members know or let people know about the service that we offer, what we do, what they can have access to. Um, so I realized the other day I've been here about 20 nearly 18 years, I think
Oh
19 years.
wow.
So that's gone a long time. That happened in the blink of an eye. So yeah, so mainly my role is increasing membership, and I do that through a number of different things. So I speak with other charities, if they support people that could benefit from membership. I look after the website as well, so that might be making sure we're as accessible as we possibly can be, that the information is up to date, that what other things that we could add to the site that would help members use the service. I also look after our volunteers as well. We've got a small team of volunteers that support us. And I also look after some projects as well. So mainly those are for adults and children in hospices. So we provide a version of the service that they can access from their location, and kind of support them to do that, working with staff. So yes, it's quite a varied role. There's lots, no 2 weeks are the same in what I might be doing. So yeah, it's an interesting job to have.
Yeah, I was just thinking that you got lots of kind of strings to your bow, lots of things going on there. Is that something you, I suppose it kind of must be something you enjoy having that like variation?
Yes, yeah, you can't get bored, because everything every day can be different. You might be supporting a member to access the service one day, to just being on the website the next day and trying to make sure that that works. So um, next week I'm visiting a hospice, so it's not all sat on my desk all the time. So yeah, it's a lot of different skills, I suppose. But yeah, it does make it very interesting.
Yeah, I can definitely imagine. And you mentioned briefly there about kind of speaking to other charities and kind of networking and that kind of teamwork. I can imagine that that would be quite an important aspect, that kind of teamwork with other charities to kind of like improve both your services really. I can imagine that would be quite valuable.
It is, yes. So we're quite a small team. There's only, I think there's 10 members of staff, 9 members of staff. So we do rely on, working with what bigger charities. For example, we have um, a relationship with a charity called Brains Trust, which support people who have brain tumors, and we work with them to help uh, provide information about our service. So yeah, having those connections with other charities, we're helping their members by providing our service. So yeah, it's an important part of what I do is building those relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. I can definitely imagine that they would be very, very valuable. You've kind of briefly given a bit of an overview of this already, but
Mhm.
I wanted to kind of dive into a little bit more kind of what services do listening books provide?
Yes. So as we mentioned, we're an audiobook lending service. So members can borrow books via a website or also via an app called Libby. So we're member led, so we try and make the catalogue as member as close to what members ask for as possible. So that covers everything from modern fiction and classics, radio comedies from the BBC, through to non-fiction like biographies or something like that. Um, in the last few years, we've also added access to newspapers and magazines as well. So that's in a digital format, which kind of complements the audiobooks members can borrow. Um, and that there's hundreds of thousands of newspapers and magazines, so that's updated daily as well. So members can access all of that. We also try and provide a wide as range as possible of educational titles for children and teens. So anyone who's studying at school, if they're doing a set text for English or something like that, we will try and get that in as an audio book. Um, if there's a study guide that goes with it, we'll look for that as well. Um, and then, as I mentioned, we also work on different projects, so they'll be funded by trusts and companies where, for example, in hospices where an individual might not have regular access to their own devices or something like that, we've gone in and provided a selection of equipment that they can use. So a tablet that's all set up for them to use Libby on, and then they can access all of the books via the app. Um, so that's kind of a brief overview of the services. We're also a DofE approved activity provider now as well. So if anyone's doing their DofE and they qualify for membership, they can do their skills award with listening books, and that all involves reviewing an audiobook. So that's a nice thing that we've added in recent years as well. Um, and then we try and add loads of extra things with membership. So we've got a book club, we do a podcast, we do our Members' Choice Award every year, where members can choose their vote for their favourite book. So lots of kind of membership related things as well to make it a bit more of a membership organisation, I suppose is the term. So lots of different things, and we're always thinking of new things we can do to help our members as well.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it definitely sounds like you guys provide a lot of services. And I think just that access to audiobooks is so important. Like I know from personal experience, I used to use listening books a lot when I was a kid with like hospital
Mhm.
trips when I would go away with my mum to London for, hospital trips and things, and you'd have like plane journeys, train journeys, so much traveling, and I was like a toddler at this point. And, I was a really, really small kid. And I think audiobooks were such a valuable resource so that I could just like almost like escape into another world, I guess, just to like distract me from everything that was going on around me. And I think
Yeah.
they're such a brilliant. I think reading and books, it's such a great thing to, I guess, experience is the word. And I think the ability for everyone to have access to that is definitely powerful.
Yeah, I agree. And especially, when you're traveling in or you're sitting in hospital, a lot of the time it's waiting around.
Mm.
So it's something that you can do, and as you say, can take your mind off what you're going through, what you're waiting for, and kind of escape into a different world for a few hours is lovely, really.
Yeah, definitely. I think when we're all like super, super busy and, these days and constantly doing stuff, I think that's a really, really nice thing to experience. I guess a little kind of side question, really, for you. Are you kind of an avid reader? Do you have a favorite book? I'm more just curious.
Do I have a favorite book? I definitely have books that I come back to over again. So any Agatha Christie's or Jane Austen.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I'm rereading Harry Potter at the minute. Um, Agatha Raisin, if anyone's heard of Agatha Raisin. So I tend to, I listen to those on audio a lot of the time. Um, I'm trying to think, who is my favorite? That's a very good question. I think I have a lot of favorite books, and it really depends on what kind of mood I'm in. Like I've just started listening to some Terry Pratchett because that's the kind of mood I was
Mm,
feeling, a Terry Pratchett mood.
mm.
Um, but yeah, I mean tomorrow it might be a cozy crime.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's so many more books in audio, which is lovely. Um, I think the industry realized, there's more people wanted more books in audio, and they kind of responded to that really well. So yeah, what about you? What is your favorite?
I've been a Harry Potter girl since I was a kid. So I would say it probably has to be that. I'm kind of like you though. Like I do, it does switch up a lot depending on what I'm feeling. Sometimes it's like just things that I need to read for like school or something like end up being books that I actually really like. And so I would say Harry Potter fiction wise, but then non-fiction, I'm really, really fascinated by Greek mythology. It's such a random little niche special
Mm,
interest. Um, but that all started because I was doing research for a podcast and the person that I was interviewing had written some books on Greek myth. So I was like, right, okay, I need to read these because I'm doing a podcast with them. Like I need to know a bit about Greek myth. So I started reading it and ended up getting completely obsessed with it. And I now take classics at A level because I am interested in Greek myth. So like that has to be one of my favorites, even though it's a non-fiction. Like it's literally been the fuel behind me taking a subject. So like that's got to be up there. I feel like.
yeah, Greek myths are fascinating. I remember those from school. Um, but I mean, I think there's only a few you can study when we were little. But there are so
Yeah.
many more, and they're so, yeah, I think it's a fantastic audiobook to enjoy. I feel like I need to go and listen to some more Greek myths.
Like I say, it's so random, but I don't know, I'm just fascinated by it. And how, like, I guess so many, what I didn't realize was how so many of like those myths have inspired little things in like our modern world.
Yes,
And
they have. Yeah.
yeah,
I, I think that is fascinating how the stories, particularly Greek myths, kind of influence um how we respond to things and deal with things, and kind of the allegories for modern life as well. Um, I can't think of any examples right now, but there will be some somewhere. Um, but yeah, I don't know. We definitely have a lot of fiction that's based around Greek myths now, which is really interesting. And there was kind of a whole period where um, these stories were brought back through audio in slightly different ways.
mm,
Um, so like Percy Jackson um, is kind of the one at the top of my mind, which is all about
yeah,
Perseus and how he sees the world, and he's reading all these Greek kind of things, and I think it's a lovely way of introducing people to different ideas and history in some fashion. Um, so yeah, I'm definitely going to find some more Greek myth books.
yeah. No, I do completely agree with you. I do like how many kind of modern adaptations we now have of it, and in so many different forms as well. But moving on from Greek myth, um, you mentioned there about providing educational materials as well. And I think that's such a brilliant and important service to provide. I think especially like set texts and stuff. I think some
Mm.
of them, like for I know myself, having just gone through GCSE English, some of those set texts are so like they're so huge and there's so much volume to them and so much you have to take in. And I think having access to those set texts in that way can be really, really helpful. Even if it's just to help understand them a bit more, or even if that is your only way of accessing them, I think that's a brilliant kind of resource to provide.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think if you've got something like a set text for English, which is, I mean, some of them are quite dry, and if you're already finding it difficult to get through the text, and then you're being asked questions about the overall story, but you've only got through the first 2 pages or something, having that access to an audiobook gives you that advantage of being able to listen to the whole story, so you get the overall context and everything. And it just makes it kind of evens the playing field a little bit. with uh with the class, because you can keep up with what everyone else is talking about and engage with it, which I think is a lovely idea. I think when I was at school, it was the Mayor of Casterbridge, which I found so hard to get through um, as a story. To then have to answer questions on it was really hard. But overall, it's our educational initiative. We call it Sound Learning, but it's designed basically to make learning more inclusive and engaging and accessible. Um, so we support the national curriculum from Key Stage 2 to A level. So that's revision guides and set texts, through to books that support mental health and well-being or personal development. Um, so it makes that learning experience more pleasurable and the whole reading experience more enjoyable. Um, so schools can join, and then they can give access to their pupils, and they can either stream it in school or download them using the app. Um, and it just makes sure that every student has the opportunity to engage and show what they can do without that barrier of trying to read the book. Um, and then for teachers as well, we give them lots of extra resources to try and help promote the service and make it as easy for them as possible. So we give them suggested reading lists and posters and certificates and all those kind of things that they can help students and encourage their students to use the audiobook service. So yeah, so it's a really lovely way of getting people enjoying books, um, and also helping them through their education as well. So it's a lovely way for us to engage with our members. And we're always thinking of, what other subjects can we add? What new books are there that would make this better or make it more accessible? And we buy a lot of our books commercially, but for these educational titles, if we can get permission from the publishers, we can hopefully get some actors in and record it. So there's lots of books that we have that aren't necessarily in audio, um, which we can make available to members, which is lovely.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I suppose kind of keeping on top of kind of as many subjects as you can and as many releases as you can. I guess could sometimes be quite tricky, but I think is definitely a very, very valuable thing to, keep on top of and keep going with. But it's interesting you say that about kind of buying some books commercially, getting actors in to record others, because I was kind of just about to ask you about that. Like, what does the process of obtaining the audiobooks you distribute look like?
Um, so I can only comment kind of more generally, but
Mm.
so we have various agreements with publishers. So we can buy a lot of commercial books um, that are released, a lot of fiction, non-fiction, um, and we do that through Overdrive and Libby as well. Um, we just have really good relationships with publishers. So what we do is we ask members for what they want to listen to. So we'll look at what they've requested, whether it's available in audio yet, if there is a version we can buy. And then we'll look at bestsellers and what people are reading generally, what's on, kind of the top reading lists. And then we'll add to the collection that way. Um, so yeah, so there's a lot of research involved in making sure the
Yeah.
collection works for everybody. And some books are easier to get than others. So Cozy Crime was a selection, uh, uh, part of our catalogue, which is there's quite a lot of books in there because that's what a lot of our members have asked for. But then we're trying to grow other areas, so books about politics, or we did a whole range of books for educational purposes around dealing with grief and being safe online. So yeah, as a process, it can be quite involved, just making sure you're getting the right books for the members to have access to, and making sure it's what they want rather
Yeah,
than
yeah.
us just picking books because they're
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, just taking sort of random
Yeah.
guesses. Yeah, no, I completely get that. And you have talked quite a lot about kind of member interaction and member input. And I can imagine that must be such an important part of what you guys do, so that, members do actually feel involved in the services that you provide and they're seeing things that they want to see.
Yes, yeah, it's a really big part of making sure the members feel a part of the charity and what we do, and because it is for them, um, and we try and reflect that as much as we possibly can, in the way books are accessed and the catalogue um that we can provide. Um, so yes, members, we encourage that feedback from members. We can't necessarily always do everything, and we can't always do it very fast because we are a small charity, but if we can do something, we will. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of different things that we try and get members involved in. And I've mentioned the book group, and we introduced the Members' Choice Award. So lots of those things that make it kind of a fun uh, place to be, I suppose, is the way I'd say. The way I'd say it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it definitely sounds like it, and I love stuff like that. I think it just, as if, obviously audiobooks and things like that are super engaging anyway, but having those extra little things sprinkled over the top to just make things more engaging and possibly more enjoyable, I think it just like adds an extra layer to things.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a nice way because a lot of our members might be a bit isolated, so it gives them an opportunity to engage with us on the books that they've read, or listened to, and that the book club is a great way of doing that. We don't we have themes each month, I should say. But yeah, then we kind of really engage with what they think about the books that they've enjoyed within that theme, and whether we've added new books to the catalogue and if they like them or not. So yeah, it's a nice way for um, people to communicate, I think, um, and kind of make more of the books that they're listening to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it certainly sounds like that. What do you think then are kind of some of the benefits of the services that you provide?
Wow. There are so many benefits, and I think they can be different for everybody. So listening to an audiobook can be relaxing. It can be a bit of escapism, as we mentioned, or just enjoyment, or for learning. So for someone at school, they get the chance to keep up with their school texts, but then they have the opportunity to engage with their peers about the books that they've listened to, and with the lessons as well. Um, but for someone older, with a disability or an illness, that can be quite isolating and lonely. Um, so I think for our older members, having access to audiobooks is actually, providing a friendly voice in the room, or if you're using non-fiction or the newspapers, you're connecting to the world around you, which is lovely. Um, and then I suppose for parents as well, if you're a parent and you have dyslexia and or a visual impairment and you want to read with your children, you can use audiobooks to do that, and have that shared experience of family reading, which is a lovely way to kind of um, engage with family time, is listening to a book together. So I think the benefits are many and varied, um, and I think they're a great way for to engage with the world, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned there about kind of having that voice in the room with you, I guess, that an audiobook provides. And I feel like there's something really powerful about that. Like, I guess we've talked briefly about how audiobooks are becoming more of a mainstream thing. People are becoming more conscious of the desire for them. But like I know so many people who actually prefer audiobooks to reading because I think there's something so nice about having something read to you. I don't know what it is exactly, but having that kind of, especially maybe with fiction and things like that, having someone tell you that story, I think there's something really, one, relaxing, but two, quite kind of powerful about it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And if you think back, how we always communicated was verbally, and we would share information and things via stories, and then we invented writing things down and reading. So going back to audio is really nothing new. It's kind of re-establishing something that we always did and making that of a more of a mainstream way of learning or relaxing or taking a moment for yourself, and engaging with someone talking to you. Um, so yeah, I can't enumerate the benefits of audio enough.
Yeah, I'm completely with you there. Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. I think there are just so many, like it's hard to fully list them off.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm definitely with you there. Well, do you guys have any sort of ambassadors or patrons that help to support the charity?
We do, yes. So we have the fantastic Sir Stephen Fry, who has been our patron since 2005, I think. I know it's been a very long time.
Wow.
So he's a great supporter of our work, whether that's, we need a recording of something for the website, or he announces our Members' Choice Award every year and does a little video for us. He's fantastic, a fantastic support for audio in general, but specifically for what we do. And then we also have four ambassadors as well. So they're all authors. So it's Bally Rye, Kit Duvall, Sally Gardner, and Jenny Eclair as well. And they help us to spread information about the service that we provide. Um, so that might be if they're going into a school, or it might be on social media. They've all done interviews for us at various points throughout their ambassadorship. So we're hugely grateful for all the time and support that they can give us, um, because they're all really busy and either writing or acting or doing something. So yeah, they're a brilliant help, kind of making people aware of listening books and audio support that's
Yeah.
available.
Yeah, I can definitely imagine how vital that is. Those kind of familiar, well-known faces in, spreading the word about what you guys do. I can imagine that having that there and having those guys out there to kind of raise a little bit more awareness, like you said, is really important.
It is, yeah, and especially for us as a small charity, we do a lot of big things for a small charity, and there's um, particularly Stephen with his profile. It just gives us that extra boost um, to reach those people who could benefit um,
Absolutely,
from
yeah.
from membership, really. So um, yeah, it's we're always hugely grateful for anything that any of the ambassadors or the patron can do for us.
Of course, yeah, definitely. I mean, all very, very brilliant people. I mean, to Stephen Fry and to have him as a patron for so long, I mean, that is definitely incredible. I've had the complete honor of having him as a podcast guest.
Oh, fantastic. He's so
So
lovely to interview as well.
he is, he's so just such a like incredible person. So I can imagine having him as a patron must be pretty special.
It is, yeah, yeah. And he is so busy as well. He does
Yeah.
tries to do so much. Um, so we try not to bother him too often.
Yeah.
It's like, can you fit in this little video or something? So yeah, he does so much for us. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that is definitely amazing. What would you say then has been the charity's proudest moment so far?
Oh, it's a good question. We have quite a few, I would say. I mean, we're nearly in our 70th year. I think we're 67 years old. All
Wow.
right. Um, so we're quite proud of that. I mean, we were pretty proud when we got to the 60th year. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
and a lot has changed in 10 years. So yeah, I think that's definitely one to be proud of, the
Mm,
longevity of the charity and how we've kind of adapted. Um, adaptability is probably a thing to be proud of too. So, when COVID came along and we couldn't do a lot of things that we would normally do, we kept the service running. We adapted really well, and I think that's something to be proud of because it meant that all of our members could still access audiobooks at a time when they probably needed it more than ever, where we were all working from home and working out how we could still deliver a service where we didn't have access to the postal system because there was no post. And um, we fundraised, and we managed to get tablets to members that couldn't access things online themselves, because we did have a digital service at that point. Um, and we spent time on the phone just talking through how they could get online, and there were a lot of older members who'd never kind of accessed anything online before, so there's a lot of time involved. Um, so yeah, I would say, that's a thing to be proud of too, because our staff do really care about our members, and we want them to have the best service they can have. Um, and then what else are we proud of? I think our projects is something to be proud of as well. We're always seeking areas where we can support more people in a way that is as accessible for them as possible. So our projects in hospices kind of led to a project in hospitals where we get funding so we can give access to children on hospital wards or in hospital schools to access audiobooks. So whether they're in for a few days or a few weeks or months, they can borrow a tablet and access audiobooks from our service, so they can keep up with their schoolwork, when they invariably don't have the energy, or they're going through treatment and they don't want to kind of do schoolwork in the more traditional sense. So they can still get that option to listen to the books that might be educational, or just kind of relax and take a bit of time and deal with what they're going through. So I think that's something to be proud of too. Um, so yeah, so I'm going with those three. I'm sure there are more things to be proud of.
I'm sure there definitely are, but yeah, that's a pretty good golden trio right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think longevity, like you said there, is such an impressive one. Like when you actually stop and think about it, well, longevity and adaptability, kind of when you stop and think about it, you guys have been going for 67 years and you've stood the test of time, you've adapted to things. It's actually a super impressive thing to be able to do.
Yes, yeah, it is, and especially with changing technologies and a changing world. We're moving into a world of AI, and we're looking at how that's going to change things and how we can utilize that if it's appropriate, or whether we should and all that kind of thing. Um, so yeah, I think hopefully we'll be going for another 67 years, and I'll be interested I don't think I'll be here anymore, probably. You never know. Um, just to see, to find out how audio and accessing audio will have changed by then. Um, so yeah, it's definitely we'll keep going for as long as possible.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's an interesting thing to think about that, really. Like, you never know kind of how things are going to change in the future. So it's super interesting. But actually, linking to that, then, what would you say are some of the charity's future aspirations?
Oh, I think definitely growing the charity and letting more people know about us. Raising the amount of members that we can support. What else? Increasing awareness of our Members' Choice Award. Um, so we're in the fourth year, I think. And our book club, and you know, potentially, if we can, kind of supporting more schools to access audiobooks. I think that's a huge aspiration. There are a lot of schools in the UK, but there are also so many students that could benefit. And I think if we can do that, we'll have well spent the 67 years that we've been going. Um, yeah, I think I think those are our aspirations. Certainly my aspirations.
Yeah, definitely. Well, they're very, very good ones, and I wish you the very best of luck with all of them. So, I guess, kind of finally, then, how can people support listening books?
Um, I think just share information is one of the biggest things. I think a lot of people don't think that they qualify for membership because, for one reason or another, they can still read something. Um, but if you've got arthritis or you're having treatment for cancer, or if you've got diabetes and your concentration levels aren't there for reading a book, then do think about joining and having access to audiobooks, because we do try and support as many different types of conditions as we possibly can. And they're not always obviously uh, something that would impact on reading. And follow us on social media. We put a lot of news on there about what's happening at the charity, the new books that we've added. We're constantly putting new books available. So yeah, just um, follow us on social media and share as much information you can about the service that we offer.
Absolutely. And I would definitely encourage people to support as much as possible. I know from personal experience how much of a brilliant charity Listening Books is. So I would definitely encourage people to do so. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I mean, it's been lovely to meet you and brilliant to get to hear more about Listening Books. You guys are such an amazing charity, and the amount of access that you provide for so many different types of disabilities, whether that's visually impaired, whether that's reading disabilities, whether that's, arthritis and things. I think the amount of people that you provide that access to audiobooks for is incredible. So, thank you so much for doing this.
Oh no, thank you. It's been lovely chatting to you. It's nice to reflect on all that we've done, and I don't think we do that enough. So yeah, it's been lovely. Thank you.
You're very welcome, and thank you again to you too. And thank you to my audience for listening, and I will see you all next time.